Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we recap the second biggest gaming award show of the year. Ours being the biggest, obviously. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I'm joined, as I'm always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including announcements from last week's The Game Awards. And then on Thursday, we are originating some Nintendo Origins games. But Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
I'm doing great. My new internet obsession / crush is this really big fat monkey from Tibet.
Okay, what's his name?
I think it's a she.
Okay.
And her name is Xing Xing.
Okay.
And she's, I can't stress this enough, incredibly fat, incredibly cute. Apparently, okay, and this is, well, first of all, I'll just tell you what I believe to be true. And then, Patrick, I'll tell you my worries.
Okay, thank you.
So what I believe to be true...
I think this should be the format for all of our conversations from here on out. Let me tell you what I believe to be true, and then let me tell you what my worries are.
Yeah, that's right. It's like therapy. Okay. So this is what I believe to be true about Xing Xing.
Yeah.
Is that her left arm or paw is incapacitated for some reason. And that she was in danger somehow, and then found refuge at this Tibetan temple.
We're light on details here, so
where this kindly old woman, takes care of her. And so there's lots of videos in my Instagram reel suggestions of Xing Xing drinking juice boxes, being fed fruit, and they're all slowed down, and Enya's Only Time is playing behind them,
right?
So couple of things. One, I love this monkey, but two, I don't know if the narrative that I'm being fed about Xing Xing is true.
Sure, it's reading a little bit like propaganda to you.
It's reading a little bit like propaganda. It's also reading a little bit like can I really trust what's happening here? Because it's not like this is a these videos are being fed to me from a official Xing Xing account. They are reposts.
You think it's a Xing Xing impersonator?
I'm worried. I'm worried that I might be being catfished because they're all the videos are basically rips from the Chinese equivalent of TikTok.
Okay.
And then people are posting, the person who's posting these videos is Xing Xing is so cute. Xing Xing, telling the story of Xing Xing. This is where I got these supposed details.
Right.
But I have no idea if they're true. I'm not watching the originated video.
Right.
I'm watching some fantasy that somebody has created. I don't even know that Xing Xing is really Xing Xing's name. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. I know exactly what you're saying.
And it's is this monkey big and fat because it is just being fed juice boxes all day and fruit when it, and
when it needs a more balanced diet,
is
really.
Its paw incapacitated because it has diabetes because it doesn't have to do anything except sit there? I don't know. I don't know these questions. I don't know that I want to know the answers.
Right.
I kind of like the fantasy of Xing Xing.
That's right. I mean, and that's all you'll ever really be able to engage with. First of all, wild animals are unknowable, so if you can give up on that fantasy now. But yeah, I think enjoy the monkey for what you're not going to affect any sort of change in this monkey's life, right?
It's true. I won't. But I cannot stress enough that it's super fat and super cute.
I love that. Here's another thing that you cannot affect change in the life of. The Sonic Forces borrowing program. It's a perfect borrowing program. It's going to persist no matter what. All you got to do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. If you would like to borrow my copy of it, you just need to send us a mailing address so we can send you my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. I box it up. I put it in a little envelope. I send it to you. You send it back. I have paid for postage both ways. You can play it in between the sending to and from your place. And there may be a copy of Untitled Goose Game in there, and that's, Mark, hey, that's fine. It's just something that happens. You can play that for as long as you want and send it back much the same way.
We have a debug
Debug!
from last week's episode. So last week when we were talking about new releases, we talked about Dragon Quest Treasures, a game that released just last week, and we in talking about it, I said that it was multi-platform.
I think it's possible that I did too, right? Because I think I was like, I'm interested in the performance on other platforms.
Oh, right. And then, well, either way, I think we egged each other on.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're just like,
bad influences on each other. Yes.
But it turns out that is not true. That Dragon Quest Treasures is in fact a Switch exclusive. Thank you to Jake from our Discord for letting us know. And that one of the reasons we were talking about Dragon Quest Treasures last week, or one of the things we were talking about when we talked about Dragon Quest Treasures, is who was publishing it.
Yes.
Because Nintendo, very frequently in the past, when, at least in the, I would say,
in the Switch generation, for sure,
Dragon Quest, a lot of the Dragon Quest games that have been brought over were published by Nintendo. But this one is actually published by Square Enix, which I guess is kind of even more interesting to me. Just because it is a Switch exclusive.
Right.
So maybe Square Enix is dedicated to making Dragon Quest a thing, outside of Japan.
I mean, that is possible. I think it's also possible that Square Enix is just a publishing machine, and they're like, I don't know, we've got all these games. They just have to go somewhere.
I mean, this year has been crazy. We've joked before that Square Enix has released like 100 games, but I think it really is like 40 or something. I mean,
it very easily, and like pretty high profile releases. The fact that Dragon Quest Treasures came out on Friday and Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII comes out on Tuesday, like the day this episode posts, is nuts to me.
Yeah.
Those releases are too big and too similar. They're both like sort of action-based spin-offs of mainline like RPG series.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. But yeah, if you were looking, if we led you astray and you were looking forward to Dragon Quest Treasure, I don't know that we've ever apologized for a debug before. This is
all right.
First.
Well, no, let's take it back.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No apology. Just want you to know we were wrong. Yeah. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week.
So last week was the first big run in Splatoon 3, and this is when the form of Salmon Run changes a little bit. So instead of being like Salmon Run specific stages, kind of the framing device for a big run is like when you load up the game, you get a notice that salmonids are invading the city, and the sky has become this kind of like salmonish color. And then when you go to Grizzco to participate in Salmon Run, I'm totally blanking on what the name of the stage was this time, but it's usually like a turf war stage that had been retrofitted for Salmon Run. And for participating, you got like a special emblem for your locker, and then there's like a little bit of a competitive element to it. So within matches, if you are the number one performer in a match, then you get a bonus. Oh. But then also at the end of the big run, they so you are tracking your high score throughout a big run, like how many golden eggs you as a group were able to collect.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, they put it into tiers. So it was like, okay, C tier, I think, was like 81. If your high was like 81, and then it went up from there on. I think the number one tier was like 135 and above or something like that. So, and then those, those were the high scores that you achieved, you got like a special bonus at the end of it.
Okay.
So, I really liked Big Run. It was not what I had like thought it was going to be when Big Run was first announced.
Right.
Like I thought it was going to be like a big kind of like takeover event and something would happen in Splatsville.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that. Like it was isolated to this like Mako Park maybe. Like that might be what it's called. That's a debug for next week. But but like the music was cool. Doing Salmon Run in a like a turf war stage was fun. The kind of the competitive element within your team that they added to it by trying to be the high scorer what I thought like was a fun twist on it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping
Well,
that
there's
it
also
happens.
just something to like having Salmon Run highlighted. Like it was bad in Splatoon 2 that you had to like wait for Salmon Run to be available, but when it was available, it meant that it was like a little bit of a special thing, or that there would be a little bit more focus on it. But now Salmon Run is always available. If they're like, well, now it's a big run, then like just more eyes are on it, more people are thinking about it, more people want to play it, probably easier to party up.
Yeah, totally. And so my hope is like, because Big Run was super fun, and I'm hope it comes back frequently, but because it's not like that big of a deal, I hope that it comes back more frequently than like once every 6 months or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Well, and I guess the game has been out for a couple months now, so like, yeah, we are like this shouldn't be the cadence of it, right? Like,
I hope it's not once a quarter.
no,
like,
that's
I
too
hope
that's
that
too
it-
infrequent.
Yeah, like I maybe once every other month. It just doesn't feel like special enough. Like it doesn't destroy Splatsville. You know what I
Right,
mean? Where
right,
it's
right.
like it's such a big deal that they could only do it. It's not like Fortnite when they end a season. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It's-
Which then it would be okay if it only happened like once a year.
Right, exactly.
How frequently does Fortnite do one of those things?
I really could not tell you.
Yeah, me neither. And so you enjoyed your time with Splatoon 3 this weekend?
Yeah,
I didn't get into it at all. Most of my gaming still has been God of War.
Oh, uh-huh.
Which I think I'm within striking distance of the end of it now. It's a game that I'm having a wonderful time playing, and I love it. But I just badly want it to be over now. I want it to release its grasp on me.
Oh, sorry. One more thing I want
Yes.
to say about Splatoon 3. So also last week in the Discord, I was talking about one of the things that I wish, because Salmon Run is kind of like on equal footing with Turf War, at least you can play it all the time in Splatoon 3. I wish you could get the like gamer nicknames or like the nickname tags or whatever.
Yeah.
From playing Salmon Run, but you can't. You can only get it from playing the like battles
From
like
playing Turf Wars?
Exactly. And so I was talking about that in the Discord, and a few people actually recommended that, because I'm really bad at Turf War, but they recommended that I check out Anarchy Battles because it's like Turf War with a purpose. Like there's a goal that everybody's working towards.
You have like a different way to contribute.
Exactly. And so I tried one of them this weekend. It was like the one where you're like inking zones basically, and you're trying to like control that zone. And I that one was like okay, but I do like this idea of like having a purpose, and so I think I need to just be on the lookout for when the other ones are
Anarchy
available,
battle
so I can
types
like
that
try
you're
them
interested
out.
in. Yeah.
And I was worried with Anarchy Battles that it was like, well, I'm not very good at this, so will it matter? But with with just like playing with a bunch of like random people online, the emotional stakes anyways for me were super low, because if people were cursing my name, thanks to Nintendo's limited online, I never knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
Like I couldn't tell, was that a booyah out of anger, or was that
It's tough because like sometimes you do have to booyah out of anger.
although actually I don't know if you can booyah in Turf War or if it's something else. That's how little I play Turf War.
Mark, I think we both have also been playing the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pack. The Rock Cup and Moon Cup launched last week. I love these tracks.
Yeah, I feel like these were really, really good. Can I tell you the tour tracks still kind of like weird me out?
Okay, even the ones that aren't the real cities.
No, sorry, the real city ones.
Yeah.
I think Sydney Harbor is still my favorite. There's just something just like weird to me about seeing the Berlin Wall represented in Mario Kart.
And to have it filled with swamps.
yeah.
Are those swamps or what? They have a
I
different
was trying
name.
to remember what the ones that like fall forward are.
Yeah.
But that just feels like weird to me. I don't know why to have that like Marioization of like this like real life history and all like the suffering associated with it just feel I can't wrap my head around it.
It is a bizarre feeling. But yeah, we talked about the tracks before they came out. Are there any like revelations about the tracks? Like the Peach Gardens does a very interesting third lap where it kind of like sends you around the track in reverse, which I think is really cool. But like, were there any other like surprises like that you were like, oh, this is different than I expected?
I think the one that surprised me because I don't really remember it was Boo Lake.
Yeah, well, it's from the GBA.
Yeah, which is from the GBA game, which I owned and played and do not remember liking that much. And so it's been interesting to see how the GBA tracks have kind of been rehabilitated.
There you go.
There, I got there eventually. In my eyes, based on their kind of like reinvention in the Booster Course Pass, or really in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in general.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I liked Boo Lake a lot. Maple Treeway I thought was really nicely done. The 3DS Rainbow Road,
What is this? What are you about to say? I really like it.
I think, and I'm not blaming you, but I think
Sounds
my
like you're blaming me.
expectations were
It's
set
like
really
I'm
high.
being blamed right now.
So I was really excited for it. And I think the road itself is visually really cool. But I was not that blown away by the track.
It does like shimmer. Mark, I cannot believe this. You go on the rings of Saturn and then down on the moon.
I mean, that part. Oh, yeah, that is cool. When you go on the moon, that part.
Well,
is
then
very
what's
cool.
the issue? No, I mean it is pure chaos. And I like seeing it on a big screen. With like, it's such a difference from playing it on 3DS to, like suddenly as you're going through, there's like that tube part where there are boost pads kind of everywhere, and at the end of it you either get a ramp so that you're like flying through the next section, or just like a regular boost, and all of that is so messy that like just being able to see it on a full like HD screen is beautiful, and so much clearer than when we were playing it on 3DS and or on DS rather. 3DS, I was right the first time. But also goes back to being tricky when you start playing it in split screen.
Oh, I bet.
It's still just not enough like real estate to figure out what's going on there.
One kind of like surprise change, or unannounced when they released it, is that you can now customize which items appear in offline versus races and like certain other online modes.
Yeah. So much like the way you could do it in Smash Brothers, just to customize to be like, no, you know what? We like all of the items except we don't like the bombs in Smash. You can do that here, where it's like, okay, yeah, just turn off the blue shells, or whatever you don't like.
Right.
Have you messed around with that at all?
No, I haven't. But I don't really mess around with it in Smash either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Smash, I love having items, just a bunch of crazy items that make everything go crazy. But yeah, there was a little bit where Sarah and I were playing without coins and without blue shells, and it's still chaotic, right? There's still a bunch of red shells. There's still like bloopers. There's still lightning. But just taking out the one thing to like knock out the first place player, and also eliminating coins, because like, well, that's the most disappointing thing when you get a coin from the block. But so in addition to this, there's also it's been sort of rebalanced, like how quickly some of the characters recover, and it depends on which character, like when they run into stuff, and lightning no longer knocks you out of the sky when you're in your glider. So it's fascinating to me that this game has been out for in one form or another for like a decade, and they're rebalancing some of the items at this point.
Yeah, that is, especially like now, like halfway through the DLC.
Yeah. It's Mark. It has rejuvenated my hope that they will someday put a volume sliders for sound effects and voices.
That would be amazing. Look, I'll sign my husband up for a Nintendo Switch Online account.
Wow.
Just to reward.
If that's what it takes, plus expansion pass?
Plus, well, we'll I don't yeah, you know what? Sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't back down from that, Mark.
Yeah, that's right. If it happens, I absolutely will.
Mark, I made a discovery about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe this weekend. Sarah was playing, and she was like, "Do you want to join me on the next circuit?" And I was like, "Yes, absolutely." And I was like, "Oh, I got to get the Joy-Con grip from this basket of controllers that we have." And I reached in, and there's a bunch of stuff in there, including the Super NES controller for the Nintendo Switch Online. And I bumped its like L or R button or something, and so it connected before I could get to the Joy-Con grip. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's just see if this works. Mark, you can totally play Mario Kart 8
Oh,
Deluxe
no way.
with a Super Nintendo controller. And I was awesome with it. It felt, like nostalgic and fun, and like it's a sort of a surreal experience. I kind of want to go through as many games as I can and see like what can I play with the Super NES controller, because it's got as long as you don't need the triggers or the like analog controls. It's kind of got everything.
So
It's got the 4 face
I'm
buttons.
just trying to. Now I feel like I have to try this because I'm just trying to imagine, like, is there anything that you were missing or couldn't figure out how to do?
No.
And what was controlling it like without like an analog stick, by just using the like?
Just
Were you
using
doing
the-
like diagonal? Did you need to in order to control it, or was like left, right, up, and down all you needed?
I mean, you really just need left, right. Like, when are you
Yeah.
pushing up or down?
You're right. No, you're totally right.
It was really, really straightforward and
That's interesting.
wonderful.
I wonder if you could do it with a N64 controller.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, it led me to this question: if I'm playing with Joy-Cons or with a Pro controller, can I steer the cart with the D-pad?
Yeah, I don't know.
I never try. Yeah. It was a bizarre discovery to me that like this plays just as well on like a regular SNES controller.
That's kind of cool.
So I love that, and I'm going to be experimenting on basically every other game that's on my Switch. Can I play it with the Super NES controller? All right, Mark. Those are the new. Nope. All right, Mark. That's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Today, Tuesday, December 13th, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is released on Switch, and this one, yes, on other platforms.
This one is for sure on other platforms. Reading early impressions of it, seems like the Switch version of it runs pretty well. So it is not a situation where Switch owners beware. I am going to, Mark, this is my plan. My plan right now is to buy this on my Switch.
Uh-huh.
Delete Persona 5 to make room, and then download this game. That's where I am right now. This is a pretty short game, or within the like 10-12 hours realm. So I'll do that, and then I promise I'll think about getting back to Persona 5.
Ooh, a strong promise.
Mhm.
Can I ask, as someone who's never played, well, I don't think either of us have, but
That's right.
for Crisis Core, is it an RPG?
It's an action RPG.
Okay.
So like to my understanding, that there are a lot of aspects of Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat that were basically lifted from Crisis Core
Oh,
directly.
interesting.
And I really loved Final Fantasy VII's combat or Remake's combat. I'm ready for like a full-on wacky Final Fantasy VII story.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And then on Thursday, December 15th, River City Girls 2 is released on Switch. And then Friday, December 16th, the cloud versions of Resident Evil games on Switch. We've been on kind of like a streak of releases, and it comes to an end with Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Cloud Edition is released on Friday.
So then that is the last of them.
That's the last of it.
They started with 8.
So Village is out, and then they did the Village DLC, and then 2 and 3,
Right.
and now 7.
And now 7.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is so interesting because 7 was the first one released in Japan way back in like 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, that's right.
We're finally
That's
getting it
right.
here to round it all out. But yeah, yep, this is the end of it.
Frustrating. I think that we will never find out how these cloud versions do. There'll never be a headline about it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Still, I'm just interested. I just want to know if these things they must be doing something, otherwise they wouldn't have like pushed them all out. Right?
Yeah. I mean, totally. This is kind of like beside the point, but it is crazy to me that both of us really love Resident Evil and have never played 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I feel like we should remedy that someday. Not necessarily for this podcast.
Well, why not though? They're on a Nintendo platform.
Yeah, we will just have to
We
pay
will
like 60
not.
bucks for
We
it.
will not play them that way
Yeah,
though. All right, Mark. Let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I'll talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, we are going to be ranking some Christmas songs today from Bing Crosby's Merry Christmas record from 1945. We've got the full track list here. First of all, do you have much experience with this record? We kind of just went for a classic, right?
Yeah, I don't have experience with this record.
Sarah and I own the 8-track of this. It's part of that 8-track Christmas decoration that we have. It includes Merry Christmas by Bing Crosby.
I think I've heard all of these songs in other Christmas collections.
Yes. Well, and also to be clear here, we are ranking the songs in the abstract, not specifically the Bing Crosby recordings of them.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said, oh, okay, like it was a surprise. Let's just go back and forth listing the songs on here.
Silent Night.
Adeste Fideles.
White Christmas.
God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
Faith of Our Fathers.
I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Jingle Bells.
Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Silver Bells.
It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas.
Christmas in Killarney.
And Mele Kaliki Maka.
Okay.
So do you have any of these that you're like, these are, what on here are like great Christmas songs? Oh, geez. It seems like Mark doesn't like any of these songs.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
I like... It's just like you hear these songs. Okay, Silver Bells is good. I like Silver Bells. It's beginning to look a lot like Chris. I don't Okay, Faith of Our Fathers, I had never heard until we listened to it.
We'd listened to it before. It is like dirgy church music. Like I don't need it. But I mean, like, I don't need it, but I also sort of feel like Adeste Fideles, O Come All Ye Faithful, is like in that same conversation.
I do not like I'll Be Home for Christmas.
There is some pop singer who I saw a clip of them singing this I'll Be Home for Christmas where she just butchers the pronunciation of the word Christmas that it sounds like Quizmois. And Sarah and I have been saying I'll be home for Quizmois.
Okay, that makes me like it a little bit more.
I don't know what to do with that, but it makes me so happy. Can I tell you which one of these songs I absolutely love?
Yes.
Is God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen.
Oh, okay.
Because it is like a dark, a little bit sinister Christmas song. There's a bit about saving us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Like, I don't know. I think it's cool.
Do you know which one I do not really... maybe I like in the abstract but never want to sit through is Silent Night.
Silent Night is a slog, but is also like pretty, right?
It's pretty. I just get like itchy. You know what I mean? Where you're just like I get like I get restless when Silent Night is happening. Where it's just like, okay, we get it.
You know what? Silent Night is a poor man's O Night Divine.
Not on this list.
Not on this list, of course.
Not on this list.
Okay, so we're identifying some of the tops. We're identifying some of the bottoms here.
We haven't touched Christmas in Killarney.
Right, Chris? Like a nice Irish broad. It's got like a nice, like kind of a... I don't know. What am I trying to say here?
It's just very like it feels festive.
Yes, that's right.
It's very upbeat, and I like Mele Kaliki Maka.
Yeah, me too. I feel weird about Bing Crosby singing it. Does that seem?
Well, see, here's what I don't know is like I'm guessing it is not in any way like Hawaiian.
I mean, except for possibly the language.
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't think it is a traditional Hawaiian song.
Right.
Although, I don't know, Hawaiian culture is such a mishmash of all sorts of other things that it's kind of hard to parse all of that. No matter what, I feel weird about Bing Crosby singing it. What else in here haven't we touched?
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
I feel like that one feels like a commercial to me.
Here, I'm just going to say it. Overplayed.
Wow. What about Santa Claus is Coming to Town?
I don't particularly care for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I just don't think that I ever need to hear it ever again.
You think it's overplayed? In what scenarios, like, where are you hearing it?
I feel like, and this is an insane thing to say
Uh-huh.
about every but I'm gonna say it anyways.
Oh.
Will we never know?
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
I just feel like no matter what, it's overplayed in the sense that anytime you're let's listen to a Christmas mix, it's gonna be on there.
You do know it's gonna be on there,
and you're just like, come on, there's got to be some other Christmas song out there other than these 10. There's just got to be.
There's just got to be. There are so many Christmas songs. We were accompanied today by pianist Kyle Shaw. Mark, let's get into the news. Oh, I did not cue this up. Well, this will be a good time for me to give the observation that, nope. Now I even forget what the observation is.
Well,
Tell you
if
what,
nothing else, we did not rank things.
we did not. This is what it was. This is what it was. That we should stop trying to rank things in
Yeah,
433
'cause we
can't
talked
get through
about
it.
'em.
We talk about the things we've never successfully ranked anything in 433. All right, Mark. Now let's get into the news.
So we missed this in the news last week, but listener Mark alerted us to a recent trademark filing in Japan by Game Freak for Solitaire Horse Ride On.
Oh, man.
So Solitaire Horse was the
Yes.
Japanese name of,
Mhm.
Pocket Card Jockey,
Woo!
the Nintendo 3DS solitaire horse racing game. And this is all we know.
This is all we know.
They trademark filing in Japan. Patrick, is it a sequel? Do you think it'll be for Switch? Do you think it's for mobile?
These are all great questions. It's definitely not a 3DS sequel. Yeah, geez. It would be great on mobile. It would be great on Switch. The fact that the subtitle is Ride On makes me think that it's an expanded version of the original Pocket Card Jockey and not a true sequel to it.
Mm-hmm.
But also you control racing horses by playing discrete hands of solitaire. There's no improving on that. I don't know how you do a second one of those. Do you add more solo card games? No, it doesn't make any sense. I think this is just going to be more Pocket Card Jockey. But yeah, the question remains Switch or mobile.
Maybe both.
Maybe both.
I mean, this wasn't Game Freak, but with HAL Laboratory, we saw what was that called?
Part-Time UFO.
Part-Time UFO that was a mobile game, also came to Switch. But I just feel with Pocket Card Jockey, part of the reason it was so perfect for the 3DS is the touchscreen.
Yeah.
And having to play solitaire, you can on a Switch in handheld mode, but on your TV, having to do it using analog sticks and stuff, not doable, but just not as fun or intuitive. So I feel touchscreen on Switch and then mobile would be the ideal way to experience this.
It's so interesting because and it's just how you experience the games, right? But just now as you were moving your fingers around to indicate what the touchscreen functionality is, and on the 3DS you're controlling it with the stylus, right? Still touch, but there's something a little bit more precise and quick about touching the screen with a stylus than with your finger. And it made me realize that in my mind, at least, is a fundamental part of how I play Pocket Card Jockey. My fingers feel too fat and clumsy to move cards around, but maybe they're not. Maybe I'll be okay.
Well, yeah, and maybe, who knows?
Because you got to play these hands of solitaire so fast.
Well, you want
Mark,
that. You want the horse to move.
You want the horse to move, and if you don't play it fast enough, the turn will burn out, and then you take the turn bad, and you just gotta go fast.
Well, thank you, Mark, for emailing us.
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, this is news we can use for sure.
That's right. That's right. And news we can share with everyone who listens to the show.
That's
too.
right.
Pocket Card Jockey, a great game on the 3DS, absolutely worth checking out. But if that becomes some weird arcane, maybe this is actually what it is. That with the 3DS eShop closing down, Game Freak is okay, well, there's literally no way to monetize it anymore, no way to make money from it anymore. Let's put it on mobile. That'd be
cool.
Could very well
I
be
just
what
hope
it is.
that they don't gotchify it or anything.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
I just pray it doesn't become the Dr. Mario world
Oh,
of
what a heartbreaker.
of Pocket Card Jockey.
I don't think we talk about it enough. It's such a bummer that Dr. Mario World, A is bad, B is gone.
Yeah. Speaking of things that haven't been announced but could be someday, The ESRB here in the States have rated the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster games for Switch and PlayStation 4. Reminder that the games originally released in 2021 on PC, iOS, and Android seemed like they'd be a really good fit for Switch, but up to this point, we have heard nothing about them coming.
Right. And this thing that we have heard here, this is just like, I mean, I guess it's not a leak because the ESRB has rated these things, but like that's not an announcement from Square Enix about anything. Interesting little tidbits floating about here. Obviously, they're being marketed as PlayStation 4 games because PlayStation 5 can play the backwards compatible. So like that's not a surprise. Kind of a surprise that they're not on the Xbox.
Right.
What's happening there? Is the relationship between Square Enix and Xbox like weird right now? Like what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just assuming that this is real and assuming that it happens. Maybe they just figured or have some sort of data that we can see that like Xbox players just don't care about these like legacy games.
Yeah. That's probable. I think it's also possible that like Square Enix just isn't like playing nice with the like the Game Pass of it all, that like other third parties will have their games available to play for free
on Game Pass.
Maybe. And Square Enix is always like, nah, these games, like Square Enix games do go on sale and like they drop in price and stuff like that. But one thing to point out here is that as these Pixel remasters were originally released on PC, iOS, and Android, that they were never released as a bundle. You always had to buy them separately, and they're not cheap. The first two games in the series are $11.99 each, and then each of them afterwards are $18. So like, these are not premium products, but they are like products that Square Enix wants to sell to people. Really make you spend like $100 to get them all.
Do you think you would buy them all, or do you think that you would? Are there just certain ones that you're more excited about than others?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, it's there are a bunch of these that I've never played, right? I've never played 2, 3, or 5. And 5 I probably should get around to at some point. But 4 and 6 are my babies, right? Like I love those games. So I'm absolutely going to buy 2 of them. No, yeah, well, I'll probably buy them all. I may skip 2. 2 is a notoriously bad game. But I've never experienced any of it. So like, is it worth the like last $12?
Well, and maybe in this remaster, right? They fixed a lot of the issues, and so
no, I don't think so. I think it's still notoriously bad.
Mario Strikers Battle League has revealed the details of the third and final update to the game. Live today, actually, December 13th, Birdo and Bowser Jr. are being added as playable characters. A new stage, Urban Rooftop, and new gear, the Shellfish gear, are all included as well. So yeah, this ends the planned release or updates for the game. I don't know. Look, having not bought it, having not played it, other than the demo, the game kind of feels like it feels in line with Nintendo's support for its other sports titles, but it feels like a missed opportunity. Like there was a misalignment between how Nintendo treated Mario Strikers Battle League and I think what the expectations and the anticipation for Battle League were.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of the story for all of the Mario sports games this generation, right? Like, and I think like Mario Tennis Aces was probably the one that pulled it off most successfully, and even that took a lot of crap on release for not having like a richer kind of story mode. And just for being like kind of an extremely difficult game in the single player. But yeah, like Strikers and Strikers Battle League and the golf one.
Super Rush?
Yeah, that's right. Both like all just like kind of had these like weird little like flickering moments that like no one was too wild about, and then like they just sort of like fade away.
Yeah.
Which sort of makes me feel like Nintendo is kind of not that they're it almost feels like they're checking off boxes to be like, okay, here's the soccer game, here's the golf game, here's the tennis game, and not like it doesn't seem like it's something born out of necessity. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I feel like the sports titles have always kind of had that feeling to them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just and Aces I feel like is the one that has kind of had like staying power.
Yeah.
Um and part of that I feel like is because they did support it for so long. I'm just so surprised that Battle League it's not even a full year of like post content support.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Yeah.
basically running it out in just I don't know, like less than 9 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It does feel like they're and look, they've all been. I think they've all of these sports titles have sold well on Switch. But yeah, I don't feel like the sports games have ever really been more than just kind of like, not just checking the box, but you know they've always been B tier
Yeah.
titles.
That's a good point.
But for whatever reason, maybe it's because so much of Nintendo's first party software on Switch has been so strong. It's been like kind of like, oh, this is the best, arguably the Mario's ever been. This is the best, arguably the Zelda's ever been. This is the best Smash has ever. You know what I mean? Like it's all of these just
Yeah.
like incredibly once
Kart,
in a lifetime
Crossing, yeah, all of these, yes.
games, and then you know you have something like Battle League that Mario Strikers was, you know, it's been gone for it missed the Wii U generation, but was on the GameCube, on the Wii, and I think people are really excited for it to come back and just like what people wanted. They wanted it to be, and kind of I think the expectation is that it would be treated like those A-tier Nintendo titles, and Nintendo and Next Level Games were just they saw it as like the B-tier sports title.
Let me ask you this: neither of us are big sportos, right? Has there ever been a like Mario sports game that has like captured your imagination that you're like, when I think of a Mario sports game, this is what I want them all to be?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah,
It
me
falls
neither.
in that Mario Party type
Mhm.
thing where it's again what I consider another like B tier, you know, effort where I just don't think they're ever going to like give a Mario Party game a huge budget.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like it is kind of there, like you're saying, to like fill out the schedule, and they can be enormously successful. Like Mario Party is beloved.
Mhm.
But yeah,
And
they've never,
they
like,
can still be like fun. Like I'm just trying to like kind of wrap my head around like how many of these games are meant or have always been meant to be like fun experiences for kids, and like you know you and I were both kind of like too old for you know when like Mario Golf came, like you know we weren't really like kids anymore for some of that stuff. And like you know I played tennis on the Game Boy. I played the Mario Tennis or just tennis, whatever it is, on like the Virtual Boy. And like I had fun with those games, right? And so like I don't know. I guess what I was circling around to is that like these games don't need to be like you know genre defining experiences.
I think that's how Nintendo sees them.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, but I just feel like for whatever reason this generation. Well, I was gonna say this generation, but I don't think that's true. I feel like it has been multiple generations of Nintendo releases sports games that are kind of light on content.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people are unhappy because they want it to be more, but it just seems like Nintendo is not at all interested
Yeah.
in, you know, really pushing the boundaries of what those games are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is really what it is that they're like, we know what a soccer game is with Mario characters in it. So here's the soccer game with Mario characters in it. And yeah, I think people just want like a transformative experience. And it's hard to fault them for that when they charge full price for the games. Like
yeah, you're paying the same for like
Yeah.
you know Super Rush as you would for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, it all tracks to me. It all makes perfect sense that like Nintendo treats it this way, fans treat it this other way, and it's just it's heartbreaking. There's a little disconnect there.
Yeah. Last Thursday was the Game Awards, and Nintendo.
Same day as the Cardies.
That's
Interesting.
right. Weird. For that's happened multiple years in a row. Interesting. But yes, last Thursday was in fact the Game Awards, and Nintendo games won several awards at the ceremony. Bayonetta 3 took home the award for Best Action Game. Kirby and the Forgotten Land won Best Family Game. Splatoon 3 won Best Multiplayer. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom won Most Anticipated Game.
Best family game, still a hilarious category. It's always just Nintendo games. And then most anticipated is it's such a weird thing to even like put as an award in like there's no other award ceremony that would do a most anticipated.
No, the only thing, the thing that I map it to in my head was this last Oscar ceremony where they were like so desperate to like
Right,
we're gonna
yes.
goose ratings because we're gonna get the fans involved.
Right.
And
Flash
so it-
breaks the Speed Force.
Exactly.
Yeah. Enters the Speed
It's
Force.
like, I do. I feel like Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom winning most anticipated game is like Flash, breaking the Speed Force barrier. Or
I
whatever.
believe it's entering the Speed Force. I mean it means nothing. People are looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, I think we knew that.
Nintendo also showed off new footage from the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was a short clip introduced by Keegan-Michael Key, the voice of Toad.
And it's a cute clip. It's just Toad showing Mario around like the bustling little Mushroom Kingdom area. See a lot of or hear a lot of familiar music, first of all, which is very cool. And then just like cute little gags. Mario's getting sort of thrown around by pipes and platforms and stuff. The movie continues to not stress me out with like dumb decisions.
Yeah. You hear a little bit of Chris Pratt doing like having a little Italian flair in his vocalization for Mario. This is a me thing, but what I'm reminded of the lead up to The Force Awakens.
Okay.
Where
In what way?
So for me, when I saw like the first few trailers for Force Awakens where like nobody really talked, you're like, oh, this looks really good. And then when they started showing clips and stuff of people talking, I was like, wait, is this going to be bad? But The Force Awakens I ended up really loving. Like, I thought it was great. And so I have no reason to think that this movie won't be fun like it's shown us to be. But that is what it like. When people started talking in this clip, I was like, or could this be bad?
I mean, that is something to keep in mind always, is that trailers can be great even for bad movies.
Rise of Skywalker.
There you go.
There were also several game announcements at the show that were Nintendo related. The Fire Emblem Engage expansion pass was announced. 4 waves in total. The first wave launching when the game releases on January 20th.
Which is so soon
next
now.
year. Yeah, just a little over a month.
It's
which is
next
really
month,
crazy.
like a month from now, yes.
And then all 4 waves of DLC will be released by the end of next year. So the first 3 waves will add additional emblems, different items and accessories. And then the 4th wave promises additional story content and new classes.
So, okay, all of that is interesting. I'm sure it'll be fun and good. I do have a complaint here that I would like to register, and a question I would like to ask. So the question first is, so the new emblems, those are like effectively the characters that you summon from other games to like fight alongside you. Are we so divorced from like the why the characters are there that like introducing new characters doesn't also introduce new like story elements? Like, are they really just like summons? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't know. Here's what's I kind of find weird about Fire Emblem, where I'm at with Fire Emblem Engage.
Yeah.
Is we are so close, and yet I feel like I know nothing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that they've released a couple of like trailers, and they've released like character introductions that you can check out online, like that sort of thing. But I feel like ahead of Three Houses, I knew a ton about Three Houses.
Three Houses is such a clear concept, though. Like the pitch for it is students. There are 3 houses at this school, and like you wage war, and there's like a civil war.
But there's like a Treehouse Live.
Yeah,
where
that's
they,
true.
Like,
that's
you know,
true.
At E3 where they like streamed in so you could actually see the mechanics, and that all could be 100% coming. It just feels like they're butting up against the holidays. Like, when are you going to do this? January 31st or December 31st? You know
that's
what
a great point. Yeah.
So it's like maybe the beginning of January will just be an Engage blowout. I hope so. And maybe all the information is out there, and I just need to like research it. but it just feels like
But what a weird, like, you do a twice weekly Nintendo podcast. Like, you're plugged in, and if you're like, oh, I don't know, I need to meet Nintendo halfway on this, like, they're not doing the marketing job to reach you.
yeah,
the
and so I
potential
hope
player.
that changes because I think like people liked Three Houses, and I would like uh Engage to do well. I hope
Yeah.
it's a good game. I just feel like personally, I don't really understand. I don't know anything about this game.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, so I do think that there is just like a problem with Fire Emblem games being like very complicated and very dense in their like political setups that end up being interesting when you're playing them, but gotta be a devil to market, right? But here's my complaint, Mark, that the protagonists of Fire Emblem Three Houses are part of this first wave of DLC, or one of these three waves of DLC.
Right? No, it is. It's the release day one.
Okay. Which means that the three protagonists, the three like main super charismatic characters from the last Fire Emblem game, that's like the best-selling Fire Emblem game ever. The reason that like, we're talking about it as like a successful Switch property are locked behind the season pass.
I know.
What is that?
They know what they're doing.
They do
and
know
it's
what they're
mean.
doing. It's
evil.
really mean.
But maybe we'll get it as part of the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack.
Oh, that's an interesting
Now,
point.
they have not done that. They've done discrete DLCs,
Right.
but they've never done like a full expansion pass. Like we
Right,
didn't get
right.
it for Xenoblade Chronicles or anything. But maybe
But maybe we
the
will.
power
Yeah.
of Claude.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's and like that's so I've already pre-ordered my I ordered like the collector's version of this. So I already spent like $80 on it.
Does it come with a red and blue wig?
I have no idea what it comes with, but yes, it comes with a red and blue wig that I'm going to wear every day,
Special edition wig.
as we record this podcast. Yeah, I know that at some point I knew what comes in the special edition. And I was like, no, I don't care. Just buy it. But yeah, just kind of a bummer then to be like, oh yeah, now I got to buy this expansion pack too, so I can play as those characters that I love so much.
Well, maybe you'll love these characters more. I couldn't even really finish that.
No, it's all right.
Bayonetta Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon is coming from Platinum Games on March 17th, 2023. It, quote, players take on the role of Cereza, a young apprentice witch, and start a fateful journey into a forbidden forest to gain the power to save her mother. In addition to sporting a striking and distinct storybook-inspired art style of its own, this new title also features gameplay never before seen in the Bayonetta series. Controlling both Cereza and her infernal demon partner, Cheshire, players will focus on exploration, combat, and puzzle solving to help Cereza go deeper into the forest.
So sort of even looking like, I don't know, like a mix of like a Zelda and like almost a Diablo experience.
I saw people comparing it to Okami.
Oh yeah, sure. That tracks totally. That feels more like a game I want to play than any other Bayonetta game.
Yeah, this was, I mean, totally unexpected from my end that Nintendo would be publishing this like Bayonetta spinoff from Platinum.
And so quickly after Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta 3 came out in October, right?
Right.
And this comes out March 17th. Like, that's it's less than half a year later.
Yeah. But kind of, I mean, interesting to see Bayonetta expand in this way. And we'll, of course, be talking more about Origins
yes.
on Thursday.
I mean, in the abstract, this idea is very fascinating to be like, explore like a prequel sort of thing. That's what we're going to be doing on Thursday. What else could that be for Nintendo? But yeah, just I would love to see more. I'd love to see the things that we're going to pitch on Thursday come to fruition.
Also, guys, we've got to find like a different word than Origins or Legends for these types of games.
Yeah, that is true. What about beginnings?
There we go.
Okay.
I'm into it.
What about Rise of? Like the Rise of Gru.
Yeah, yes. We also got a first look at Earthblade from the developers of Celeste.
Table for one, please.
That's right.
This, look, hey, Celeste, wonderful game, loved it. A follow-up that is nothing to do with Celeste, but is the same developers and a lot of the same like aesthetic. I am there for it.
So here's the description from the release. Quote, you are Nevoa, an enigmatic child of fate, returning at long last to Earth. in this explore action platformer from the creators of Celeste. Earthblade's lush pixel art world offers seamless exploration, challenging combat, and countless mysteries to pick apart. Travel the remnants of a ruined world, encounter denizens, both friend and foe, and piece together the Earth's fractured history.
Seems a little Metroidvania-y as well, just like in the little bits of gameplay that we saw. Beautiful pixel art. Yeah, this is I'm absolutely on board for this.
Yeah, very exciting. Comes out in 2024 and not officially announced for Switch or whatever like is next from Nintendo at that point, but Celeste was very successful on the Switch, so hopefully we will see Earthblade there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Patrick, a little game called Hades 2
Have
was
I
announced.
heard of it? Yeah, Hades 2. Mark, I almost jumped out of my chair at this one.
Yeah, so here's another summary from press release. Quote, as the immortal princess of the underworld, you'll explore a bigger, deeper mythic world, vanquishing the forces of the Titan of Time with the full might of Olympus behind you in a sweeping story that continually unfolds through your every setback and accomplishment.
So sounds like and looks a lot like original Hades, like same perspective, same sort of like comboing whatever. Also sort of sounds like a similar setup, right? That you're not escaping the underworld, but you are fighting titans or something. There are the protagonist in this looks like she's got Zagreus's like 2-color eyes. So I wonder if this is like a daughter of Zagreus or like what. I am so invested into the story of Hades from having poured over 200 hours into that game and beating it multiple times that like I just the gameplay of this could be bad and I'm on board and it won't be bad. It's super giant and it's Hades. Like it's going to be amazing.
Well, like the first game, it'll go first into early access on PC and then eventually release on other platforms. As far as the consoles go, the first game was first on Switch, but we just don't know enough at this point to know what the deal will be by the time this releases on consoles.
So I've never really participated in like a beta or like early release on PC or anything like that. I like the game to be done before I log into it. But I don't know. Like Hades occupies a special place in my heart now. Like. Should I? But also, will that break the spell if I'm playing like an early, buggy, broken version of it?
Well, I think I also have never done like early access before, but I think early access like it's not. I think they consider it not really like a beta. Like it's not a finished game, but it's a little. I don't think you should expect a broken experience.
Right. Yeah. Well, so. But okay, but then I still pose the question, like, should I try to participate in this, or should I just wait until version 1.0 and then just enjoy a perfect game?
I could see how that could be very hard because that will be probably years away.
That'll be years away, yeah.
And the first Hades was such, I would say, like a surprise, for us who weren't tapped into that like early access community.
Yeah, well, I I remember talking to my friend Ethan about it, who had participated in the Hades early access. So when I was playing it, I was like, I love this thing. He was like, oh yeah, I messed around with that for a while. It was fun. And I was like, fun? What do you know? This is a revelatory experience, buddy. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was good.
That's really funny. Well, speaking of Fire Emblem Engage, which we were doing just a little bit ago, the latest Japanese trailer and the Japanese Twitter account confirmed that the game will offer amiibo support. So by scanning a Fire Emblem figure, you'll receive a costume based on that character, plus a music track from the game they appear in. And then other amiibo are compatible with the game as well. Then scanning them will give you support items.
This is pretty standard for Fire Emblem amiibo support, right? Like the scanning in like whatever rando amiibo, just giving you like an item of some kind of useless, but like if you want to do it, then you can have some extra potions or whatever.
Yeah, scan that Mario Odyssey box.
Yeah,
or cereal box.
The cereal box. Yeah, I knew what you were saying, and then when you went back to correct it to say cereal, I was like, oh yeah, I guess that wasn't specific enough.
Yeah, it's a disease
that we both have. We share this disease. Even the like costumes for characters based on the Fire Emblem characters, that's kind of neat. But also there are so few Fire Emblem amiibo that like And I feel like I don't have that many Fire Emblem amiibo. I should have more Fire Emblem amiibo. Mark, why have you let me fail on collecting Fire Emblem amiibo?
Well, as Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard faces some regulatory hurdles, the company has struck deals with both Nintendo and Valve that amount to a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty to those platforms if the Activision Blizzard deal closes.
Now, interesting, as Call of Duty was currently not coming to Nintendo platforms.
That's right, and it hasn't for a while. I guess there was one on
There's
at least
one on Wii
Wii U.
Yeah.
But it's been many years since they appeared on Nintendo, and part of the reason that like Call of Duty specifically is such a big part of this is that Sony has been a very outspoken opponent of the Microsoft Activision merger, and one of the things that it argues is that Call of Duty is basically irreplaceable. And so if Microsoft made it exclusive to Xbox, it would constitute a monopoly and, like that Sony could not compete against because it's so important to like platforms. Several regulatory agencies who are reviewing the merger have also cited the potential of Call of Duty being exclusive as a concern, like as a potential reason to block the merger. So Microsoft has tried to how do you say this word? Assuage. Yeah, I wrote it down, didn't know how to pronounce it. Those concerns by saying they intend to treat Call of Duty like Minecraft. That's like the buzz is, anytime they're asked about it, anytime they talk about it, they're like, we want it to be like Minecraft. We want it to be like Minecraft. So entering into these 10-year deals with Nintendo and Valve is part of that strategy to get like regulators on board.
Right, which, like, if that actually is the, like, tack that they plan to take with something like Call of Duty is still have it available on as many platforms as possible, like, is, like, the way to counteract, like, the idea of, it being a monopoly. But it's also such a big merger that, like, it's monopolistic sort of anyway, right? Like...
Right. So I think the FTC, so the Federal Trade Commission in the United States, has filed suit to block the merger. They're trying to stop it from happening. Microsoft's argument is that they're in third place. Like their argument kind of is like, we are doing poorly.
Sure.
And so we cannot be a monopoly when we are in third place.
But Activision Blizzard is so big.
Right.
That, like... It's just so big, Mark.
Yeah. And, and Microsoft is also saying, hey, we're spending $70 billion on this, and there is no way for us, if we made it exclusive, we could never recoup our investment.
Sure.
So that's their argument. Whenever a company is trying to finish an acquisition, there's no reason we should believe anything they ever say.
Right.
Because you see time and time again where it's like, oh, this is going to create jobs. Why on earth would we lay people off? Why? And then the opposite happens like immediately after mergers close.
I mean, just like seeing the news out of like HBO and Warner Brothers like today and like various shows getting the axe because they simply need to. Like a merger means that you have to like cut expenses because you don't have enough revenue because you just spent a ton of money to acquire something in the first place. So yeah, I mean it's capitalism is a little bit of a nightmare, and if they go through with this, there are going to be some nightmare consequences.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll just be really interesting to see what happens. It would be interesting if Call of Duty showed up on like a Nintendo platform. I'm kind of indifferent, like...
Oh, yeah, I'm never going to play a Call of Duty anyway.
But it certainly would be interesting if Call of Duty did become like Minecraft and was just available everywhere.
Yeah, and what do you think the solution for that is? Is it like a scaled down? Is it the mobile version? Is it a cloud version? Like...
Well, that's, Minecraft is the example they use, not just for how they want to treat, Call of Duty, but also how it's this scalable tech platform that the, people can have the same shared experiences, even on consoles that have very different performance capabilities.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like necessarily like a one-to-one to me. You look at a Minecraft, and you look at Call of Duty, and they're trying to do very different experiences.
Totally.
But that's the model that they keep pointing to. So
it's always interesting to me when a because Call of Duty, there's a battle royale version of it, right?
There is, yeah.
That's very popular. It's always interesting to me that like those games wouldn't be offered on like basically everything. It's just streaming because you always need to be connected online to be playing it anyway. Like that's how the game plays is over the internet. So why not make it all a streaming experience?
Yeah, maybe it's just performance
Yeah.
and like opportunity cost, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Microsoft intends to close the merger like by the middle of next year, and so I think it will not be that long at this point to see how all of this shakes out. I would not be surprised at all if the merger is closed, but Microsoft makes some concessions in doing so. You know, they're like, oh, we will spin off these certain studios into its own company or allow them to be acquired.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll just like keep the pieces that are most important to them.
Do you think they would have to give up or spin off the Call of Duty developer, or it would be like some part of Blizzard that gets spun off?
Yeah, like I don't think it would be worth it to them to spend $70 billion and then give away like Call of Duty. So I don't know enough about like all the studios that Activision, Blizzard, and King hold in order, but that is my guess if I had to bet as to where this all shakes out.
Yeah, and it'll be painfully boring as it all happens. And you know, especially with Microsoft like aiming to you know, like make these like promises or pledges to put these games on other platforms for 10 years. This will be a boring process, and B, we won't even really see the ramifications of it for like a decade.
Yeah, totally. Finally, this coming weekend is the 31st Tetris Maximus Cup in Tetris 99. We have long fretted that these were no more.
Yep. Since April, I think we were fretting.
But we have a new one. The theme is Kirby's Dream Buffet. Okay.
Yeah. Like, hey, remember Kirby's Dream Buffet?
Remember how that came out months ago, and we've had Splatoon 3 since then, and Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, which did not get
wild.
Yeah, any
because Arceus got one.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, Dream Buffet it is. It runs from Thursday, December 15th at 11 p.m. through Monday, December 19th at 11 p.m. Pacific time, the first night of Hanukkah.
Of course. And
as always, score 100 points, and you get to keep the theme. With Dream Buffet, Tetris 99 will have 4 Kirby themes.
4 of them. There is no other series as represented in Tetris 99 as Kirby. This new theme is special theme number 23. The previous one, number 22, Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So interesting choices happening over there on the Tetris 99 World Max.
But I'll never
Tetris
look a Maximus Cup, a gift Maximus Cup in the mouth.
No, I'm so happy for this. Mark, will I see you in there this weekend?
Yes, we'll have to remind each other.
Yes, we will. I'm traveling this weekend, so I'm a little worried that I'm going to miss it, but it goes all the way through till Monday night.
Yeah,
so
it's
I think
kind of
it'll be
a longer one. So
I think they've been trying to give the Friday and Monday like on either side.
It's been so long, I can't remember.
All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. You should follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MK Mitchell, and the show is at Cart Society. We also have a Discord. You should get in on our Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. People correct us when we're wrong about stuff, and it's a great place to have fun, nice, pleasant conversations about Nintendo. So email us or hit us up on Twitter. We will gladly send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8BitBetty. You can get more of his music by going to 8BitBetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.